wetenschappers zowel als kunstenaars durven te gaan waar nog niemand is geweest. Ook al weten ze niet goed wat er kan gebeuren. En de koepel die ons intergenerationeel, interdisciplinair, transdisciplinair kunst en wetenschap kan binden, is er vrijheid. Waar wordt die beperkt? Hoe kunnen we daar voorbij? Moeten we daar voorbij? Ook zeker die vraag. Moeten we voorbij die grens? Wanneer moeten wij ons inhouden?
I think it's good that students feel in an environment that makes them uncomfortable. And at the same time, they let them think. And so that means that it's trigger your stomach and your soul more than your brain. And so I'm thinking that when you stimulate those two, something new can develop inside of yourself. That doesn't mean that it will be there tomorrow, but it could be there in 20 years.
I am Stijn Konings. I am the PITIA of this project, and it's an honor to be the PITIA. I'm a filmmaker, and I had a chance to read and to participate on your projects with the transdisciplinaire team. It was unbelievable interesting.
The most important part is that you step out of your comfort zone and you try to think outside the box, and that's also what this project is about, to think the unthinkable and to explore ideas that are not taught in university or that are more radical than you normally think of.
It is intense, but that's a good thing that you're constantly in this type of mindset or in this way of thinking. So I experienced it as elevating and eye-opening, which is always nice.
Sure, we can think the unthinkable. Nothing is unthinkable, because everything we perceive exists. So everything we perceive, we think of. Everything we make is something. If it's not nothing, it exists. And even nothing is something in itself that can exist. So, yeah, sure. Sure we can.
It was eye-opening because talking, having dialogues with other people, it lets you come into their mind, and from there out you can write your own horizons for other possibilities and other perspectives.
I think it's nice to just hear all the different opinions and the different ways of thinking, because I'm a very visual thinker, because I do art and it's something that I feel comfortable in. But there's also very scientific people here, and it's really nice to have discussions with people that are in a totally different field.
I've learned that there are many ways to approach an object, not only a scientific way, but other ways, to think more in an art way, or in a way of text and a way of poetry about an object, and maybe also trying to do that by myself.
We created something. We've been thinking about the freedom of a child, and another group actually said the opposite. And so about this, are you born free, or can you learn about freedom, is something I haven't thought about before, and now I really have an idea of it, an opinion. So I learned actually a lot. Yeah.
I've been really struck by how it's different than other projects I've done before. I've learned to know more scientific people instead of musicians or artists. So it's fun to see how they work and how the thought process is completely different also.
What have I learned? Well, that we are way more than we think, to want a better society, to want to make a better world, and we have all different ideas, and Even we thought about education, for example, in my group, and there was, I spoke with a lot of different people, and one of them told me, in primary school, we had something called we play together, we share together, and I think that's what we need to learn to be helpful to one another and to feel empathy and love, and that's the most important thing. And the rest comes after.
I didn't come here with many expectations because I didn't know what it was, and I find it very positive and scary, but at the same time, positive and scary both things. Just have this vague concept that people don't really know about, and then you explore it while being here and talking to people, and even right now we are still exploring what it could be and what it could mean, and we don't know what it will be like in the future, but at the same time that's also part of freedom, I think, not knowing what will come and accepting that you don't know it. So I think that goes hand in hand with what the project is about.
Actually, I've learned a lot about what I thought I knew and the fact that I actually don't know a lot. Like, I thought my thought process was kind of standard and everybody had the same ideas as I did. I realized here by discussing so much with everybody that everybody's ideas are so much different than I have, and I really enjoyed that. I learned a lot about life and philosophy, and we had such interesting talks about freedom. It was really interesting, and I met very nice people, so I'm very happy.
It was very nice. I met some really great people. I knew that there were going to be a lot of different opinions, but when I saw what everybody made, it was still a surprise in some way, because it was even broader than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, it was because I thought it was going to be very serious and like school-like, and it was a very fun experience. Yeah.
If you want to find some good answer about a difficult question, you have to bring many people with different backgrounds to think about that. Like, I think that is not the only way, but the good way to find some good answer.
You don't need to look like this, but like this, or maybe like this. And you need to talk a lot, but maybe even more important is to listen, because all these people have so many interesting things to say, and that's something I'm going to remember. Like, all these people with all their background stories, all their different little lives, and the stories and the thoughts that reproduced to me, that was something I'm going to cherish.
There were a lot of different notions that started floating, and maybe I could just say that all of these notions made me feel, made me think of something that I never thought of before in the first place, and also the kind of things that usually you do not think when you're in a normal life, when you just, you're going to your work and you're coming back home, you generally do not think about all those things. And also how important is to think about all of these things, not just because of your personal development, but also when you go out and when you speak to people, you are trying to convey that, what you learned, and I think this is a very good exercise.
What was really beautiful is also developing that emotional intelligence and relation, how to deal with some character, personality, also knowing the new words of people, the way of their thinking. And it's also teaching us to think in another way, to look in another way the world. It was forcing me as well to be more humble, because if you stay only with yourself, with your own thoughts, and you will never face your ideas with some other ideas, you think that your belief is true, which is not always. So it was really interesting to understand that people have other ideas, and it can help you to understand better yours as well.